Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Boom Thursdays. My name is Tim. This guy over here is Jamie, and we are bringing you the finale of Mighty Morphin and Power Rangers, issue number 16, the Elterian Wars. Jamie, this has been a video in the making because you and I have started from the beginning of this massive event all the way to today, and both you and I have been looking super forward to how this is going to end. So why don't you go ahead and take it away?
Okay, so first off, I just gotta say, boom. This has been a ride. It's been amazing. It's actually one of the better crossovers I've read in a very, very long time.
I agree with you 100% on that.
The only downside I've had so far is for some reason mine always takes place first. And I've had little to no action. I've usually had the build up character progression kind of on my side.
The story building and all that.
That'll change on this one. So opening up on Mighty Morphin 16, we had it starts off with a flashback to Zardos, Zed, and them bringing on Zordon for their Supreme Council, and basically talking about Zordon basically wants to still take care of everybody. He feels like he's leaving his team behind by joining them, and they're basically telling him, no, you're actually helping them. So join. So we jump forward to the fight that's going on. Now, I believe the last time in the last review, you had basically said that, they were being strategic. Zed and Zordon, going around and trying to defeat Zardos. And for me, I kind of got the end of that.
Okay.
They're still fighting, going back and forth. Zardos basically saying, you betrayed me. It's how it's always been.
Poor Zardos.
Both of them are saying that they didn't. Nothing happened. He's basically saying how he understood how to control the Zeo crystal since he had the power. Zordon goes to sneak up on him. Zardos gets behind him and stabs him in the back. It stops right there, and you're left kind of are we gonna continue this? And in my heart, I was like, oh, it's gonna finish in Power Rangers, and I'm gonna be so mad that I'm left with this cliffhanger. So it flashes over to the Zords and them fighting the Imperials.
Yep.
And the Horrid is there. Like I said, last time you were talking about him, and you're like, oh, you're gonna be surprised on who just pops out.
Yeah.
It was Draken. And I was like, finally, I got Dragon in the book. This is great. We could do something with this now. It's gonna get amazing. And Draken finally looks at the Imperial and goes along the lines of, we had a common enemy here. I let's do something about it. And the Imperial is like, well, I really don't need you, but okay. and Rocky is talking from the Megazord, and he's like, is he with us or against us? Because if he's against us, we're not winning. And Draken basically takes the Horrid and just leeches them onto the Imperial.
Oh, man.
Trying to suck every bit of energy out of them. Little did he know, that failed. The Imperial got off and started fighting all the Zords. And Draken and the Horrid were nowhere to be found in the panel.
This is like the 6-armed Imperial, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it just gets crazy because he's taking out all the Zords. Everyone's falling. The only one that's left is the White Tiger Dragon Zord.
Yeah.
And Tommy and Matthew are fighting them. It's coming to blows. Finally, they go for their special, and the Imperial puts them down.
Oh,
hard,
man.
And it's just staring at him. It's basically like, any last words before I kill you. He goes, yeah, we were just kind of trying to keep you distracted. And the Blue Supreme Power Ranger comes up and just rips him in half.
That's amazing.
Which I was like, where was he the entire time? So
I think he was up in outer space with the Omega Rangers. Yeah.
Yeah. So we go back. It's a cut to the fight still. Zordon's down. Zed and Zardos are going at it.
God, I bet that fight was amazing.
Zardos is standing toe with him. going blow for blow with Zed, and you just see the Zeo crystal laying next to what seems to be a dead Zordon.
Mm-hmm.
And Zed basically pulls the same thing, is trying to keep him away and distracted, and with one big blow, Zordon just stabs him in the back with the crystal. There's a lot more to it. I don't want to get into it on that part. So we kind of flash to what's going on with the Zords. We see just this massacre.
Mm-hmm.
All of them are outside the Zords, and they're like, Draken, like, you killed one of our friends. We're gonna take you out. And Dragon's like, oh, silly me. I gotta go take care of this spaceship I hijacked and get back to space. I'll see you guys around, and just vanishes.
Oh man.
So I was like, no, why would you do that? So we go into the last. I'm not gonna give what happens in the middle there, but I'm gonna go into the last the very last panel, and all you see is Zordon standing over Zardos and Zordon, and it just says.
You mean Zed?
Yeah, Zed is standing over Zardos and Zordon, and it just is to be continued at the bottom. I'm like, oh my god, Tim, what happens?
Before I get into that, do you want to give your rating on the writing and the artwork?
Yes. So it was hard for me to grade both because I loved everything.
Mm-hmm.
The problem I had, and I think we should give a grade overall too for this. So my grade for issue 16 is definitely a 9.3. I want to give it a 9.5, but I feel like I felt lackluster on a few spots that were kind of like entangled. Like there could have been more info, which I'm the first to say, like, I don't need too much narration on stuff.
Right.
If you give me the art, I can tell you like yes or no. But the Draken coming in kind of felt like a setup, but it didn't feel like a setup. It just felt like he was there just to be a plot point for a minute, and then poof, gone.
In and out.
And then the Horrid were really just there for the same aspect. So to me, that was kind of a letdown.
Okay.
But overall, that was a 9.3 for me. If I had to give this whole crossover experience like a solid rating.
Now, this is without reading the Power Rangers issues.
Yes, this is everything you've told me.
Gotcha.
So for my side, I would definitely say this is a 9.5. This is a highly recommended. Please check this out. Once I read it in its full collection after we're done here, I know it'll probably be higher. It'll probably be a 10 out of 10 for me. Yeah. But as of right this second, 9.5, easy.
Fair enough. Okay, so 9.3 out of 10 for this issue itself, but a 9.5 out of 10 for the event as a whole without reading Power Rangers. Yes. That's amazing. Okay, so let's go into what happened on my end. So, okay, with credits, once again, we all know who they are, but I feel it needs to be mentioned one more time. Ryan Parrott with the writing, Francisco Mortarino pencils again, with ink assistance by Christian Prunesti, colors again, Raul Angulo, and letters the immortal Ed Dukeshire.
I gotta say, Marco Renna on my book has been phenomenal as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know you always give the credits, and I keep forgetting that we have the separate artists. It's like, but it still feels so great.
Yeah. Okay, so it starts off with mine on the moon. And the first panel that I get is Zordon laying there. The helmet that he has on, the glass helmet's cracked.
It's leaking.
Yeah, it's leaking. He looks like he's toast. And Zed says something along the lines of the power be with us or the power be with you. You know, whatever the phrases that he says. And he's sitting there and he's saying to Zordon, he's like, how can you believe that? How can you believe that there's some mystical force out there that is going to protect you and protect everyone from everything? He said, that's ridiculous nonsense. And Zordon is laying there, Zed standing over him, and Francisco's Zed looks absolutely amazing. I just have to point that out.
Like I said, I want to see yours to compare, but Marco Renna did a fantastic job. Like, I mean, outstanding.
But with that being said, Zordon says, I do, in fact, believe that. I do, in fact, believe that there is some all-powerful force out there that loves and protects us and helps us and all that. And Zed goes on, he's like, where was it when Zardes destroyed all these countless worlds? Where was it when you were put into the form you're in now, when your body was taken away? Where was it when the innocents were begging for salvation when I was there? He's like, and where is it now? And how is it going to protect you if I were to kill you right now? And Zed calls his staff and gets it powered up and ready to kill Zordon. And Zordon's like, hey, you know, it's up to you, but you know, it's not some all-seeing mystical force that is a shield. He's like, it's our actions, it's our emotions, it's this, it's that, it's everything else. And this is where I find out that Zed killed Zardes, right? And all that. And Zordon and Zed is like, you know, you could have killed me, but you chose to kill him. You know, why did you do that? You know, you could have given my body back or something along those lines. And Zordon was like, I would do the same thing over and over and over again. I'd do it the exact same way. I protect you and kill Zardes. And it just kind of leaves it like that. Like Zed picks up Zordon and carries him to the portal. Alpha 5 is there, and he hands Zordon over to Alpha, and he's like, take him, go, never come back, don't ever show your face on the moon. And in and out they go. And then it goes down to Earth, Century 4. Zeta is the leader of Century 4, and they're ready to fight with Zelaya, one of the Elterians, right? The main character that was working with Zardes until she figured out what was going on and then went against it and all that stuff. And they're poised and ready to fight, but eventually they back down. Zeta surrenders. They get taken into custody and all of that stuff. And then you go to Draken, who is free. And I wasn't aware that that's who brought the Horde in, or the Horde in, right? And so this is the aftermath. And he speaks to Trini only. And he's talking to her, and he's like, I just want to thank you. He's being who he is, you know, and all that stuff. And Trini's talking to him, and they're kind of going back and forth. And she's like, you know, you could stay. We could figure out something. We could figure out a way to work together. And, you know, he's like, do I have idiot stamped on my forehead? And
yes.
She's like, that's fair. I deserve that. And he's like, I'm out of here, you know, and he gave some other information too. But basically, we have not seen the last of Draken. He hops in that ship and he takes off, and he's gone in outer space. So I think we'll see more of him in the future. The Blue Emissary, however, is giving final guidance to the Omega Rangers at that time. And even though he's the only emissary, he has to figure out how to bring the other emissaries back and start healing the wounds that have taken place with this. And it's going to take forever. Now, moving on to something else that I thought was really cool. Babu, Squat, Finster, and Goldar are there with the Power Rangers that are on the ground. And they're talking to him. And I think it's Tommy and Rocky that are talking to him. I could be wrong, though. But I know Tommy is one of them. And they're like, look, or maybe it's Jason. Either way, it's one of them. But they're like, look, you know, you fought alongside us. You guys did a great job. You know, you stepped in when the going was tough, and you didn't leave, and you guys fought valiantly and bravely. You know, Zordon says that you should be allowed to choose your next path, your next direction. And 2 portals pop up, and they're like, on this side is Safe Haven. You can go here, and you can rest easy, and you can start a new life, and you don't have to worry about fighting anymore. Or you can go here, and you can go back to the moon, and you can grovel before Zed, and you can lose every time you try and take over the world. It's up to you. Obviously, we have a preference, but you choose where you want to go. And then it cuts, and I'm like, oh, I wonder what they chose. I have no idea. And then it goes to the plot point that I didn't even know existed, and that's the Candace and Skull plot point. Like you and I were talking about just a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
Candace and Skull had a brief romantic relationship. Skull fell in love with her. Well, apparently she did too. And Candace is really Zelaya, one of the Elterians. She invites Skull to leave with her back to her home world. And I'll leave that a mystery as to what Skull decides. And then you go back to Babu, Squat, Finster, and Goldar, and they've made their decision. They've chosen where they want to go. And I'll also leave that as a mystery. But the one thing I will say is tragedy could be waiting around every corner. And I'll leave that as it is.
That hurts. I can't wait to read it now.
Dude, you're going to love it. So, with this final issue of the Elterian War, the finale, I give this across the board. Writing, ink, colors, letters, pencils, everything. I give this a 10 out of 10. And let me tell you why. So, this is a very well done end to a wonderful storyline. This was amazing from beginning to end. And I think that everything was finished up nicely. And what will be a major storyline in the future, the seeds are planted here at the very last panel of this particular issue. For everybody on both books, the creative team on both books, very good job, well done. I highly 110% salute all of you. 10 out of 10 for here. So overall storyline wise, like with Mighty Morphin, from what you have told me from the start of this to now, I think that it would get a solid 9.5, and that is with my lower grades from other issues. So once again, Jamie, we're tenths of a % off on how close we are to what we think of this. Now, we're going to do this not in a video, but I'm going to read it from start to finish with the Mighty Morphin stuff. And I know you're going to read it start to finish with the Power Ranger stuff. And I want to sit down and have a conversation with you about the whole.
Oh, it's happening. It is happening.
Okay, so issue-wise itself, you give it a 9.3 out of 10. Issue-wise, for me, I give it a solid 10 across the board. Overall storyline gets a 9.3 from you. Is that right?
Yeah, for that issue alone. For 16 alone, it was 9.3. Okay. Overall, for the full story, 9.5.
Then we're right at the same. 9.5 from both of us for the entire storyline.
Like I said, it probably will change after the fact. And when we shoot, or not shoot, but talk, I'm going to be like, oh, we should just gave it a 10 and been over with it.
For all you wrestling fans, you know what that means. But all right, Jamie, before we get out of here, is there anything that you want to say to everybody?
Thank you guys once again for, showing up and showing your support. Be kind to one another as always. Make sure you guys like the video because that helps us out tremendously. But follow, like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell as always so you guys don't miss any more of the content we're putting out, especially from Boom Thursdays to Breaking the Code, the podcast itself, and so much more. I'm losing sleep, guys. Can we get another like?
All right, guys. And once again, don't forget to follow us everywhere on social media platforms, Twitter especially.
We need the help.
Yeah, all you have to do is look for us under The Codex Station. And you can also find us over on Twitch, where we do the podcast every Wednesday at 5:30 Central Standard Time, 6:30 Eastern Standard Time, give or take a couple minutes. It depends on how fast the coffee kicks in.
Yes.
Once again, guys, all you got to do is search for The Codex Station, and you will find us also on all podcasting platforms. Once again, my name is Tim. This guy over here is Jamie. This is Boom Thursdays, and we want you guys to have a great day.
See you guys in the next one.